Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Molly and this is Good Wellbeing ASMR. So this is my first ever video where I'm going to be doing a soft spoken. I'm going to be honest, I have been putting off doing a soft spoken video for a while, because even though I love watching ASMR videos that are soft-spoken, I'm a little bit insecure of my own voice. But I thought, let's give it a go. Soft-spoken might be preferred by some people, and other people might prefer the whispering. So, today I am going to go through another part of the encyclopedia, which I did within probably the first few videos that I uploaded. So I've gone through some of this already, but I still have a lot of a way to go. So this is a part 2 of looking through this knowledge encyclopedia. There will most likely be a part 3 because I still won't finish it today. There's a lot of information in it. But yeah, I wanted to come back and have a look at it. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. There'll be a bit of tapping, a bit of page turning sounds, and obviously I'll read through some of the hopefully interesting parts of the book. As per usual, I do just want to say another thank you to anybody who has subscribed, liked or commented on any of my videos. I am so appreciative, and yeah, it really encourages me to carry on making these videos, which I am enjoying doing, so that's nice. Okay. I do like paper sounds, and actually the reason I like this book is that I think the pictures are really good. Okay, so last time we had a look at space as well as the earth, so I think we're on nature this time, and yeah, we'll go on to the human body, which will be my favourite part. This is what I've studied quite in depth. Also, I do love science. I don't really know much about history. I mean, maybe some of the wars I studied and watched quite a few documentaries on, but in terms of things like, you know, Vikings and those types of parts of history, I'm going to be honest, I haven't really read up on since I learnt about them back at school. So it'd be interesting to have a look at it, and that is part of the reason I bought the book, actually, because there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge on certain areas, and yeah, it's always fun to learn new things. So today we're going to be going through nature, so how life began, the living world, invertebrates, vertebrates, survival secrets. Yeah, I went through this on part 1 of looking through this book. Okay, so nature. Since the first living organisms appeared on Earth 3.8 billion years ago, millions of different species have evolved. Life now flourishes all over the planet, from the highest mountain peaks to the depths of the ocean. So, how life began. Billions millions of years ago, a chance combination of chemicals somewhere on Earth's surface created a substance that could soak up energy and reproduce itself, the first living organism. This was the beginning of the amazing story of life on Earth. Signs of life. Planet Earth was formed from a cloud of space rock, dust, and gas. For millions of years it was a mass of hot molten rock with a poisonous atmosphere, but eventually its crust cooled to the point of where water could form vast oceans. The shallow fringes of these oceans were probably where life began, about 3.8 billion years ago, in a series of chemical reactions that assembled in the first living cells. So this seems to be the timeline. We've got early Earth, chemical cauldron, first cells, energy from light, and deep heat. So then we'll go through these ones, and then we'll have a look on the next page. For 500 million years, Earth was a giant furnace of searingly hot rock, constantly bombarded by asteroids and meteorites. As each lump of space rock crashed into the planet, its energy was converted into more heat. But these impacts also delivered chemical elements that were to be vital ingredients of life. Number 2, chemical cauldron. As the planet cooled, huge volcanoes filled the air with toxic gases, but they also erupted vast quantities of water vapour that cooled and fell as rain, filling the oceans. Lightning may have then triggered chemical reactions in the water, forming complex molecules that were able to make copies of themselves, the basis of life. Number 3, first cells. The chemical processes that were essential to life needed to occur in a protected place. This was provided by a substance that could form tiny tough-walled bubbles. These were the first living cells, microscopic packages of life-giving chemicals that became bacteria, the simplest surviving life forms. This is looking at evolution, natural selection. The main mechanism of evolution is called natural selection. Life in the natural world is a competition with losers and winners. Those that survive and breed happen to have a combination of qualities that help them thrive in their habitat, but if conditions change, the winners may turn into losers. Okay, we'll just read this last bit and then I'll go on to the next page. The history of life is not a story of steady progress. Living things have faced many global disasters caused by things like asteroid impacts and climate change. Some have left very few survivors, which have had to live in an altered world. This has changed the direction of evolution several times, so new types of animals and plants have evolved while others have become extinct. So this is the timeline of life. This is why I like this book. I feel like it's mapped out really nicely. Like the visuals are very well done in my opinion. Timeline of life. Life has existed on planet Earth for 3.8 billion years. Over that time it has evolved into a dazzling diversity of forms, from microscopic bacteria to giant dinosaurs. For most of Earth's long history, the only living things were single-celled microbes that lived in the oceans, but around 600 million years ago, the first multicellular animals appeared. This led to an evolutionary explosion of complex oceanic life forms during the Cambrian period, and once the first simple plants had evolved, life was able to colonize the continents as well as the oceans. Okay, I won't read all of these, but we have got here like early volcanoes. Water vapour erupting from ancient volcanoes created the oceans where life evolved. Space debris bombarded Earth in the early Precambrian, including icy comets that melted into oceans. The history of life is recorded by fossils preserved in rock layers. Older rocks lie beneath more recent ones, so each layer represents a span of time. Scientists divide this vast stretch of time into eras, and these are further divided into smaller time spans called periods. This geological timescale is the basis of the timeline shown here, measured in millions of years ago. So you can see it starts from 4.6 billion to 541 million years ago. That's amazing. We got to right in the furthest bit, 2 million years ago to present. This period of dramatic climate changes has had long ice ages with warmer phases like the one we live in today. Despite this, modern humans, Homo sapiens, slowly spread all around the world. It is amazing, isn't it, to think back all the different stages that's happened and all the different sort of changes in habitat that's caused changes in species. Okay. So we're looking at dinosaurs now. Although I have studied biology and I did do a bit of evolution, I don't really know much about dinosaurs. Obviously it's like paleontology, isn't it? I didn't study that too much. I mean, I've watched some documentaries. I always think of Ross from Friends when I think of dinosaurs. I was a big Friends fan, the TV show. Yeah, so 165 million years ago, life on Earth was dominated by the most spectacular animals that have ever existed, the dinosaurs. The Mesozoic era was a high point in the history of life because it was the age of dinosaurs. These fantastic creatures, including the biggest, heaviest and most terrifying of all land animals, they evolved into an amazing variety of forms, ranging from huge armoured leaf eaters to nimble feathered hunters, and gave rise to the birds that still flourish today. So, the Mesozoic era ended 66 million years ago with a mass extinction event that eliminated all dinosaurs except the birds. It may have been caused by the impact of a giant asteroid in what is now Mexico. I didn't actually know that. That's quite interesting. At the same time, huge volcanoes were erupting in India, and the combination must have had catastrophic effects on the climate. Asteroid impact. The asteroid that hit Mexico 66 million years ago was at least 10 kilometers, 6 miles wide. The high-speed impact of such a huge rock would have filled the atmosphere with debris and dust, blotting out the sun for many years. And as it says here, scientists still do not know what really killed off the dinosaurs or how birds, crocodiles and other animals managed to survive. Okay, so this is a really nice large picture showing a dinosaur. It's the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it's the most powerful land predator that's ever existed. A supersized killer armed with massive jaws and teeth that could bite through solid bone. The Tyrannosaurus were the most deadly hunters of the entire 165 million year Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs. The biggest and most famous of them, Tyrannosaurus Rex, evolved near the end of the era, a few million years before the global catastrophe that wiped out the giant dinosaurs. It was specialised for killing, inflicting huge bites that crippled its prey or caused it to die of shock. It would then rip its victim apart, biting out great chunks of meat and swallowing them whole. So obviously it's labelled all the different parts of the dinosaur. So we've got the small arms. Each tiny arm had just 2 sharp clawed fingers. The heart was probably at least 10 times the size of a human heart. It needed to pump blood around its colossal body. That's really interesting, isn't it? A heart that's 10 times bigger. So there's bird-like feet. Theropods walked on their toes like birds. Each foot had 3 strong forward-pointing toes and a small toe at the back. So, 3 million years, the length of time that Tyrannosaurus may have terrorized the earth. Okay, let's have a look at the fact file of it. So when 68 to 66 million years ago, Habitat North America. Diet carnivore. Length up to 12.4 meters, which is 40 foot. Tyrannosaurus had the most powerful bite of any land animal that has ever lived, at least 4 times the strength of an alligator. Yeah, it's one of the most scariest land animals that exist, isn't it? So this is looking at how fossils formed. I do need to start reading each page because it's going to take me ages to get through this book. But each one I look and think, oh, that's so interesting. I think this cross section again is brilliantly done. So, the living world, life on Earth. Life has evolved into an incredible variety of forms, with almost 1.8 million known species and many more yet to be discovered. Scientists classify them in 6 kingdoms. Each kingdom is divided into groups of related living things called phyla, classes, orders, and families. These organisms have evolved different ways of surviving in the particular habitats, but many find it harder and harder to live in a changing world. I remember in biology A-level years ago learning about the classes, phyla, orders, all that type of thing. Yeah, the different kingdoms, and it's all coming back. Life forms. Every species of living thing is related to others that evolved from the same ancestors. They form groups of species that are related to other groups in the same way, like a giant family tree. This tree has 6 main stems, the 6 kingdoms of life. 3 of the kingdoms are made up of organisms that are mostly too small to see without a microscope, but the others consist of animals, plants, and fungi. So you have the classification of life. Each of the 6 kingdoms of life is divided into several phyla of similar organisms. These are split into classes, orders, and families. Within each family, there are usually groups of closely related organisms, each called a genus. This normally contains several individual species. So we've got under kingdom, animals, and then under phylum, chordates, under class, mammals, under order, carnivores, under family, cats, and the genus is big cats or Panthera. Species is tiger, so that's the example of the tiger in terms of each of the different classifications. So looking at the food chain, all living things need energy. Plants and some other organisms gather energy from sunlight and use it to make sugar. Animals eat the plants and turn the sugar back into energy and body tissues. Other animals eat the plant eaters, so the energy, along with vital nutrients, passes down a food chain. But eventually the energy and nutrients are turned into a form that can be recycled by plants. This is looking at plant life. This is the botany side of biology. So from creeping mosses to majestic trees, there are plants growing all around us. They create most of the food that supports animal life on land. They also produce most of the oxygen that is in the air we breathe. Plants are multi-celled living things that mostly grow on land or in fresh water. Nearly all plants use the energy of sunlight to turn water and carbon dioxide into oxygen and sugar, a process called photosynthesis. They use the sugar to make the complex materials that form their roots, stems, and leaves. The most primitive type of plants can only grow close to the ground in damp places, but others grow tall and broad, covering the land with green vegetation that provides living space and vital food for animals. So we We have flowering plants here. Primitive plants such as mosses and ferns do not have flowers or seeds. These non-flowering plants are now far outnumbered by flowering plants, which evolved during the dinosaur era around 200 million years ago. Flowers produce pollen, which is carried to other flowers of the same species, fertilizing them so they form seeds. I do remember back in school, years and years ago, learning all about pollination. Got wind pollination, animal pollination, comes back. And I do remember learning all the different parts of the plant. So we've got the stigma, where pollen lands on the stigma. The male cells from the pollen grain fertilise the flower. The petals, the pollen, the tiny pollen grains contain the male cells that fertilise the female cells of nearby plants. The bee, lured by colour, scent and the promise of sweet nectar, a bee picks up some of the pollen. I won't read all of it, but yeah, it's very interesting. I think we'll just flick through some of these now. So the green energy, animals must find food, but green plants make their own using energy from sunlight to turn carbon dioxide and water into sugar. This process is called photosynthesis. Got all the different layers of plants. The upper epidermis, the chloroplast, the palisade cells, the vein, the lower epidermis, the xylem vessels, the guard cell. This is all bringing back actually like my A-level biology from years ago. Oxygen factory. Photosynthesis by plants and marine algae creates most of the oxygen that we breathe. In a single year, one mature tree releases enough oxygen to support up to 10 people. Nearly 40% of the world's oxygen is produced in the tropical rainforest. Okay, we're on to invertebrates now. Most of the animals that live around us on land and in the oceans are invertebrates, animals that do not have backbones and jointed internal skeletons like ours. Many have tough external skeletons, while others may have hard shells, but many more have soft muscular bodies with no hard skeletal parts at all. Got arthropods. The biggest invertebrate group consists of the arthropods. They include the insects, spiders and scorpions, and crustaceans. Adult arthropods have tough jointed external skeletons or exoskeletons, several parts of jointed legs and, in the case of insects, wings. It's a nice big picture of a bee. I won't read too much about the bee. Butterfly cycle. Now we're on to vertebrates. Most of the more obvious animals that live around us are vertebrates, animals with flexible backbones and internal skeletons. They are the mammals, which include humans, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and 3 types of fish. Compared to the immense diversity of animals' life in general, there are relatively few species of vertebrates, but they include the biggest animals now living on land and in the oceans, as well as the largest that have ever lived, the giant dinosaurs. This section's on fish. Great white shark, the most terrifying predator on the planet. The great white shark combines almost supernatural senses with a set of teeth that can slice through prey like a chainsaw. 300, the number of teeth that line the jaw of the great white shark. As the teeth are always being replaced, it may get through 30,000 of them over the entire lifetime. Oh, here's a fact file. I like these fact files. Length up to 7 meters. Top speed 50 kilometers per hour. Well, that's 32 miles per hour. Lifespan over 30 years. Prey, fish, turtles and sea mammals. A great white shark sometimes raises its head out of the water to look around for likely prey. Scales. The shark's skin is studded with millions of tiny tooth-like sharp-edged scales called dermal denticles. These are covered in enamel, the same substance that covers our teeth. The scales not only act as a flexible coat of protected armour, but they help the shark swim efficiently. The overlapping scales alter the way the water flows over the shark's skin, reducing the drag that makes swimming hard work. Do you know, I did not know that at all. That's really interesting. This is about amphibians. Nothing against amphibians, but I've never been completely interested in them compared to some animals. But let's read something and learn something about them. Amphibians are best known for the way that many species spend part of their lives in water and part on land. Indeed, the word amphibian means double life. I didn't know that, so I've learnt something new with that word. Early amphibians were the first vertebrates, animals with backbones, to live on land. They evolved from fish that had developed their ability to breathe air, and they have retained a few key features of their aquatic ancestors. In particular, amphibian eggs do not have tough shells to stop them drying out, so they usually have to be laid in water. The eggs hatch as aquatic larvae, which eventually turn into air-breathing adults. Some amphibians lay up to 50,000 eggs every breeding season, but only a few of their young survive long enough to breed in turn. So, key features: most lay eggs, moist skin, most spend part of life cycle in water, and they're cold-blooded. I'm going to flick through some of these now, just to have a look at the images. So this is the frog lifestyle cycle. Frog spawn, tiny tadpoles, back legs develop, front legs develop, froglet, adult frog, dragonfly. This is the reptile section. With their scaly skin, reptiles seem like relics of a prehistoric age. However, many reptiles are not as primitive as we think. I keep wanting to flick through and then I get interested. We'll just read this paragraph. Modern reptiles are cold-blooded animals that evolved from amphibians, the first vertebrates to live on land. Reptiles were able to conquer dry land more effectively than amphibians because their tough, waterproof skin stopped their bodies losing vital moisture. They also do not need to find damp places to breed. This allows reptiles to live in some of the hottest, driest habitats on Earth, but very few reptiles can survive in cold places. So, key features of reptiles: they lay eggs, some give birth to live young, scaly skin and cold-blooded. We have the reptiles, we've got the tortoises, the crocodiles, lizards and snakes. Oh, the crocodile. My husband keeps looking at, he keeps watching crocodile documentaries. I mean, they're interesting, but they're a little bit scary, aren't they? I've got no wanting to see one particularly. But yeah, they are fascinating creatures. So crocodiles are survivors from the age of dinosaurs, powerful, heavy-armed reptiles that can devour any animal they seize in their fearsome jaws. Let's look at the fact file. So it's 3 kilometers per hour is the speed on land. That's 1.9 miles per hour. Speed in water is 35 kilometers per hour, which is 2.2 miles per hour. And then habitat, rivers, estuaries and salt water. The average length is 3 to 5 meters, which is 10 to 16 foot. The saltwater crocodile is the biggest of all crocodiles, with some males probably growing to 7 meters or more. So on to birds next. So looking at birds. With their beautiful feathers, fascinating habits and amazing flying skills, birds are among the most colourful and intriguing of all animals. Got a diagram here showing all the different parts. Let's look at the features. Birds are warm-blooded vertebrates. Their bodies are covered with feathers. They lay eggs and mostly birds are able to fly. So you've got feathers, most fly, warm-blooded, lay eggs and vertebrates. I always find migration interesting. Many birds nest in the far north in summer, where the days are very long and swarming insects provide a lot of food for their young. At the end of summer, they fly south to spend the winter in warmer regions. Some birds make incredible journeys, flying huge distances across continents and oceans. So, how birds fly. Birds are masters of the air. Other animals can fly, but none can match the sheer speed, agility and endurance of birds, qualities that have been refined by millions of years of evolution. Birds can fly faster, higher and further than any other animal. Many fly vast distances around the world every year, and a common swift may stay in the air for years on end without landing once. Wow, I didn't know that actually. Birds have been seen flying high over the summit of Mount Everest, the highest peak on Earth. These feats are possible because a bird is highly specialised for flight. From its feathers to its bones, virtually every part of a bird's body is modified to either permit flight or save weight and make flying easier. Okay, we're on to mammals now. Oh, that's nice pictures of dogs. I love dogs. Warm-bodied, often furry mammals are the animals that we find easiest to understand, and for a very good reason. We are mammals too, and share many of the features that have made them so successful. So, key features of mammals. Vertebrates, warm-blooded, mostly give birth to live young, mostly hairy, young feed on milk. Got the African elephant. It's an amazing picture here, showing all the different internal parts. The biggest and heaviest of all land animals, the magnificent African elephant is a giant plant eater with an appetite to match its size. It is famous for its intelligence and excellent memory. The fact file, up to 4 meters, which is 13 feet. Weight, 10 tons. Oh wow, that's very heavy. Lifespan, 70 years. Habitat, African savanna. Diet, vegetation. And status, threatened. Oh, that's not good. Survival secrets. Animals have a special feature that is not shared by other living things such as plants and fungi. They are active. Most animals look for food, communicate with each other and have complex patterns of behaviour connected with finding mates and producing young. This involves sensing their surroundings and in some cases making decisions based on past experiences, but ultimately all this activity has just one aim: survival. Living together. Although some animals lead solitary lives, most live with others of the same species. A few live with different animals, for even completely different types of organisms. They form relationships that often make life easier for both partners. This can allow them to survive in difficult habitats where food, shelter or other necessities of life are hard to find. We've got things like courtship, parental care, on its own. It is amazing to think how species have survived by things like this. Habitats. This is looking at the ecosystem, ecological succession, looks at life on land. The American desert. The cactus deserts of the southwestern United States and Mexico are home to a rich variety of plants and animals, all specially adapted to survive the hot, dry climate. Many desert predators are highly venomous, which helps them capture scarce prey. This is the Amazon rainforest. It has a lot of amazing diversity. The African savanna. The tropical grasslands of Africa are open landscapes of dramatic seasonal extremes. They provide one of the most amazing wildlife spectacles on the planet. Oh, I love this image. I think it looks really good. So the coral reef. Tropical coral reefs are the most spectacular of all oceanic habitats, providing homes for an astonishing variety of colourful marine life. Natural wonder of the world. The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of north and eastern Australia is the biggest coral reef in the world, covering an amazing 340,000 square kilometre, the size of a small country such as Japan. It comprises more than 3,000 individual reefs, which are home to an extraordinary variety of sea life. This includes dolphins and fish, corals, mollusks, turtles and starfish. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest singular structure made by living organisms and is visible from space. Again, I didn't actually know that's amazing. My sister's gone there to visit the Great Barrier Reef years ago now though, but I've never been. So 30 species of dolphin and whale live there. They live in the deeper waters. More than 1,500 species of fish. Wow. So we've got coral. The reef consists of about 400 different species of coral, all living together in colourful profusion. Mollusks, as many as 4,000 types of mollusks. Starfish supports about 600 species. Turtles, 6 of the 7 sea turtle species found in the world's oceans breed on the reef. Yeah, it's very impressive. Okay, this is animal architecture. Some of the animals have amazing architecture skills. They use them to build their homes, make temporary nests, or in some cases to create ingenious traps for catching prey. Predators and prey. I'm on to the human body now. So just have a look at this last one and then we'll end the video here, and I'm going to record another one another time about the human body. So, predators and prey. Many animals survive by hunting and eating other animals. These predators have special adaptations for finding, catching and killing their prey, while their victims have evolved defences that help them escape. Okay, so most predators hunt alone. A few, however, have found ways of working together as a group to either outwit their prey or kill animals much bigger than they could bring down alone. These cooperative hunters range from army ants to wolves, hyenas, dolphins, and humpback whales. Recently, scientists have discovered that chimpanzees sometimes band together to hunt small monkeys through the treetops. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it here since we've come to the end of this section. In the next video, when I do a part 3 for this book, we'll have a look at the human body. The human body is a fantastically complex machine containing 206 bones, 650 muscles, and 75 trillion parts called cells. Scientists have studied the body in greater detail than any object in history, yet many mysteries remain. So, yeah, we'll go on to that next part in another video. But all I can say is thank you very much for watching. I hope this soft speaking has been okay. I might revert back to whispering on my next video, I'll see. Yeah, thank you for any comments, likes or subscribing to my channel. As I keep saying, I'm really appreciative. So thank you everyone, and I will see you on the next video. Bye everybody.